Alright, traders, evening. Waking up. Now, when I left the Asian session, it's decidedly a little bit different to here. There's definitely a negative feel coming through in the markets, and this is on the back of the Trump losing a little bit of confidence, and also he fired the Attorney General, although it was an Obama appointment and just the acting Attorney General during the Asian session. Definitely didn't help, right? So the stabilization of the market, and the usual thing I'm looking for is for that to happen and dollar yen to have a little bounce during the Asian session, didn't really materialize, and the BOJ was not in play. So I didn't actually buy this dollar yen. We talked about buying dollar yen yesterday, but that was really where, in a scenario where the Dow did not break, or close below 20,000. So I was in no mood today. No mood today to be picking up risk, because that could have been just the beginning, right? I mean, this could have, really just still be just the beginning. So the Dow has a lot of room to move. If the markets lose faith in Trump, then I think the potential downside in the stocks is real, and then that means dollar yen can go really 200 pips, no problem at all. So I've left this alone. In hindsight, it's probably been a mistake that dollar yen started to grind up, but I'm not really interested, right? I'm not interested in sort of getting stuck long here in this particular pair, because it's just I don't know what's about to happen here in stock markets tonight. Now, I do understand that the market could transition from being concerned about Trump to worrying about the US economy. So the Fed's tomorrow, and then the NFP's on Friday. Strong numbers or hawkish Fed easily could get that US dollar back and the dollar yen back, above 115. That's no problem at all. But it's what happens next, and I really don't know with Trump. I just, he doesn't back down. So sort of the market has to ignore it and not build on it, because if it starts to get worse, then I'm not sure how it's going to play out. So therefore, I'm not taking on the I'm not trying to predict it. Anyone who's telling you they know exactly what's about to happen here with Trump and the market, I think, is either too overconfident about this situation. I can't remember a political situation that's this fluid and this dangerous, right? It really is a new world. So yeah, in that environment, I'm staying away from the US dollar. The only trade I've got going at the moment is the one we did yesterday, was short euro pound, and the pound's actually struggling to keep up with the euro. And so this is not looking great either. Now, if the markets recover, then euro pound should go down, right? Actually, the stock market selling off is what allowed this euro pound to rally from 85. This selling, this is basically when I went to bed last night. This selling on the back of the ECB member coming out and saying that they're not tapering anytime soon, I thought was going to be sustainable. Okay, and it's only with the euro reversal last night and the same time he had the dollar yen sell off, where you see that the euro pound itself has struggled to keep up. The pound itself has struggled to keep up with the euro. So yeah, this is not great. If stock markets sell off, then dollar yen goes down sharply, and that drags down pound yen. And so pound yen is sort of setting the tone here. You can sort of reverse this pound yen chart and start to see a euro pound chart a little bit. So it is important for the overall underperformance or outperformance of the pound compared to the euro, which way the market's going. So it is it's a bit iffy. Now, I don't really mind it rallying up slowly towards 86. In terms of stop, I'll probably want to sell more at 86, and I would be then putting stop 86.60, chucking the towel in up there on this particular trade. For it to get to 86.60, it probably has to be some sort of Brexit negativity coming back that's really spiked it high. So yeah, no reason really, I think, for you to get dangerous here, to get into this sort of fight that's going on between the bulls and the bears and the stocks, and Trump supporters and Trump naysayers, right? It's a really, the market could easily go 300 or 400 points either way from here in the stock market. So I'm not gonna try and pick that. I'll just sort of try and react. If we're sitting here tomorrow and the dollar yen's above 114, I think it becomes easier to buy. When the market's focusing on the Fed, then I'll look to start to buy that. But right now there's no need. Yeah, you have to refresh sometimes for the YouTube to come back. The European session is definitely more positive than the Asian in the US session, so this is something the market you build upon. If you were caught long dollar yen at 114, you're loving this. Right, use this to get out. I think this is one time I probably wouldn't want to be holding the market for 24 hours from now. I think it really is quite a dangerous situation here. I was surprised that the Dow fell so much, and I can't imagine in the US they're going to be happy about Trump firing the Attorney General, even if it's not that big a deal really. But I don't think it's going to put flames out, right? I don't think that that's oh, okay, he's doing that. That's nice. It's going to start to it will continue the battle that's sort of brewing. Let's have a little look at some of the analysis here from banks. There isn't that big a data today. The BOJ came out, like I said, that was a non-event. But tomorrow, we're getting closer now. That I think the market's going to be moving towards focusing on the Fed. Relatively soon, so I'll try and find something about the Fed, right? I know tomorrow we will have more, but right now it's not a bad idea just to preview that as well. But technically, we haven't looked at the FX daily for a while, so let's have a look at this. This is the one that we used to look at every few days. This is their majors positions. These are straight technical situations, right? So they wish they'd sold a little bit higher. The euro, if they get a chance, 108.20. I think a lot of people want to sell the euro higher. We talked about 108, 108.30 on Friday and maybe yesterday. It didn't seem really possible yesterday. Dollar yen, they suggest we're forming a range. The 115.60 and 113. Break of 112 might open it up. They expect the big fib level. Now this big fib level they put in at 119.99. That's a little bit different on some other charts I've seen, but that's 112. So that's a pullback here of this rally. A lot of traders ask, are we buying pound or selling pound? I'm like, oh god. You know, that there's not an easy trade there, right? This is not. I mean, if you're looking at the 4 hour, the rally is definitely stalled and it's pulled back. Hasn't really shown signs of too much strength in the last 48 hours. So yeah, I'm not encouraged to buy it, that's for sure. Yeah, no, it's pretty dangerous, isn't it? Like a few more days of weakness, and we're targeting. Let's see what happens at the bottom end of range, at 124ish. Yeah, that's where I'd be tempted to try and buy. If we can buy here, and market gets back above 125, you know, it could be encouraging. But to buy now, yeah, it doesn't seem like the right time. You got to have really a lot of faith in the market, right? A lot of faith in the trend, I think, to be buying here. Yeah, so the Aussie dollar is really stable, really quiet. Do your head in sort of quiet. This is not a 15-minute, this is an hourly chart. This is, you know, basically untradeable. It does sort of look like the next move would have been lower usually here to test support, but we couldn't break that 75 on multiple occasions with every reason to. So all in all, actually quite bullish consolidation up here. So these guys are still bullish on Euro Pound. While we're above the 200 day, looking for to buy closer to it. Targeting 88. Okay. Targeting retest at this level. I mean, look, there's definitely scenarios where the pound gets wrecked here, but it's, I don't know, feels like there's not much appetite to be selling at the moment. In terms of the month-end flows, today is the last trading month. Let me find out for you. So these are index managers having to rebalance. In terms of rebalancing, US equity market had the best January, up 2%. UK had the worst, falling 0.3. Aussie equities were the second worst, rising only 0.1. So this implies that both pound US dollar and Aussie US dollar would be bought. Okay, so based upon just the stock market movements, it looks like there's a bit of buying to be done in the pound and a bit of buying to be done in the Aussie. Alright, so the signal's coming out for buying pound, buying Aussie, buying euro. See, it's not a huge amount of hit rate, right? 60%. that this stuff actually happens. I think, 10 times more important today is whether the stock market stabilizes in the US or they continue to sell off. Yeah, you can get these reports at FXWW. There's no real talk in there, but there's good bank reports. So this stuff is written really without much attention being paid to sort of Trump's effect on the market right now. So when I'm reading this stuff here about dollar yen bullish bias, yeah, this is pretty clear that this is, if you were talking to me on Sunday, this is what I would have written as well. The fact is, though, that continued protests and negativity and a few more aggressive executive orders from Trump might really get this market into a bit of a sell-off mode. I think this is this is all just straight up FX stuff, right? This is nothing to do with politics. What everything here they're talking about. Look at a mildly hawkish Fed and a decent NFP. Of course, dollar yen's going to be higher and euro's going to be lower. Alright, now perhaps the pound will be a little bit sideways to down as well. There is a debate going on. The bill's getting actually pretty close. So it looks like they'll debate and vote the bill on the February the 8th. That's Wednesday week. That's not too far away. The market is starting to price in a little bit more dovish RBA. So next Tuesday is going to be very interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't read too much into that. I really think that what's going on with Trump is a little bit more important. And I haven't actually checked if he said anything since I've been asleep. Let us find out. He was cracking me up earlier today. This one here cracked me up. Only 109 people out of 320,000 were detained, held for questioning. Big problems at airports were caused by Delta computer outage and tears of Senator Schumer. Make America safe again. And then this morning when I woke up, there was definitely a few more here. If a ban was announced 1 week's notice, the bad would rush into our country during that week. There's a lot of bad dudes out there. I'm like, oh god. Look, I'm trying to be apolitical on it. I don't really care too much, right? But that's really unpresidential sort of a way to speak, right? It's not, encouraging to me. But the European session, this risk is coming back on here. These are now day highs in the DAX, and so dollar yen will be at day highs too. So the relationship here is really, really strong actually. The risk on, risk off stock market performance is US dollar performance as well, and I'll be using that as the main sort of gauge of which way you want to be. But today I don't want to be chasing my usual dollar yen play, right? I will sit to the sidelines, and then tomorrow we can see how it's positioned, and then perhaps look to get some long dollar yen into the Fed. But there is no rush here. Alright, and in terms of data, while it is a Chinese holiday, tomorrow we do have the economic data releases of Chinese PMI. So there is a little bit of risk in Asia that we do have to focus on China a little. So Asian session tomorrow is not going to be as clean as maybe you would have thought. Also, the New Zealand unemployment numbers, which is their tier 1 data, is going to be important for this Aussie Kiwi, which is probing to the downside. It's probed now that 103.60 a few times. And if it breaks that, there is a fair bit of daylight to that next support. Definitely looks heavy there. And so really, a strong number tomorrow would definitely be enough to push that through that support, and then we'd be talking about a new game, and it could be getting really close to this parity level. If the RBA is a little bit more dovish than expected next week, now that parity level is really where we're going to talk a lot more about this pair if it gets down there. So it's definitely starting to act a little bit like that's the next pathway, right? And so we'll respond. So to summarize, guys, to keep an eye on stocks, keep an eye on dollar yen. Pound is looking bucks, testing that 124 level. Potentially could be a nice little buy there too, but I'm not going looking for a problem. And that's the way I'll be playing today. Yeah, the trade competition looks pretty interesting. For those who are not watching lately, I haven't been into the chat room. If you're watching from YouTube, it's a new trader competition that's got a lot of entrants. And then the next actual trading month is tomorrow, so it could be time to get involved there. It'd basically be a way to potentially become a signal for Nick. and also make a little bit of extra prize money. So yeah, the pound's just searching for support, JPOG. It's by no means is it completely, you know, the bullish upside completely gone, but it better start to behave a little bit more like there's buyers out there, because otherwise the Brexit uncertainty next week might be too much for it. And we're going to be a lot of leaks coming out next week, that's for sure. So yeah, pretty bearish sort of price action, but definitely could be you know, bigger support coming through here soon. Alright guys, I'll be back tomorrow at 9 GMT. I will be doing the NFP this week, so I won't stream on Thursday, which means that I'll do a preview of the Fed tomorrow, and then we won't really see much of the reaction on Thursdays as usual. But on the NFP, we'll be here half an hour before the NFP release comes out. We'll look at some of the game plans, similar to what we've done for the last 6 months. Look at some of the game plans, you know, potential outcomes. It could be a really different world by Friday, right? There's a lot of things happening in this market right now that I'm a bit hesitant to give you straight up trading advice today. This is not going to be easy. A lot of things could happen. Be more careful than usual. I know that's something I say a lot, but really this is a fluid market and a dangerous market.